Join me right now from Southern Florida is a woman that made shockwaves in the combat sports world last year when she signed with BKFC. Paige VanZant, you're coming up on your debut. How you feeling?
Feeling great. Yeah, I made the switch over from the UFC to professional bare knuckle boxing now, which not a lot of people expected. So I think it definitely shocked some people, but I'm really excited. I make my debut here on Friday, so it's pretty exciting.
It is you've been very open about how passionate you are to be competing for Bareknuckle Fighting Championship. Describe that passion a little bit more. Explain what that feeling is like because not every person is going to be able to step into a ring and fight somebody bare knuckle.
Yeah, for me, it didn't matter if there was gloves on or gloves off. I'm a fighter through and through. And what excited me about fighting in bare knuckle boxing is that it's like the rawest form of combat sports. It's, taking the gloves off, you're going at it completely just like who the better fighter is on that night. So I think it just fit well with who I was. It fit well with my toughness, my fight style, and I think it's cool. I think I'm going to really show people why I chose this career because I do think it's the best thing for me.
At this point in your career, would you consider yourself more of a prize fighter rather than a martial artist?
No, absolutely
No.
not.
Okay.
I mean, I see myself 100% as a martial artist. I've been training since I was 15. I haven't quit. I haven't wanted to step away, thought about stepping away. I made the transition from Oregon all the way to Florida just so I could have the best coaches, the best team possible for this fight. And especially being only 26 years old, I've accomplished a lot. And on top of that, I think, yeah, I get some opportunities that a lot of other fighters don't get, but that doesn't, take away from, my martial arts training at all.
No doubt. Now, you're making your debut soon. You started off with the UFC in 2014, 2015 with some hype. Many things have changed since then, but what has not changed about you throughout the years?
What hasn't changed is my drive and my toughness and my focus and my addiction to this sport. Every fighter has setbacks, and that's what like a journeyman in fighting, that's a part of martial arts. You're gonna win and you're gonna lose. But it's, what makes you a fighter is not quitting when it gets tough. I'm not a one-hit wonder. I'm not in this just to be famous. I'm in this to fight people and be successful. And that stayed with me my entire career. I've moved to anywhere I need to be and sacrificed to become successful. And I feel like I have the best team and training partners and coaches possible right now for this position in my career.
Your upcoming opponent, Brit Hart, she's a veteran of BKFC. Some might say that they're throwing you into the fire with this matchup. What are your thoughts on the matchup?
I think she's a super tough opponent, and yeah, they definitely could have given me an easier opponent, but that's not what I wanted. I'm training my ass off. I've been working like crazy, and I want to go into this new career and this new promotion and fight the people that belong there and fight the girls that I need to fight to prove that I'm a professional bare knuckle boxer. And I've, put the training in and I'm here to take over. And I think that this is the opponent that I will prove that on.
Yeah, Hart, she's been very vocal about the matchup. And, have you had any interactions with her in the past?
No, she called me out once at a fight and then had somebody reach out and then she apologized for it and said that she really likes me. So that's pretty much it. And then other than that, there was a few names thrown out around who I was gonna fight, and this is the one that BKFC ended on.
Are you used to that by now? With fighters just calling you out? Sometimes it's random.
Yeah, I think it matters. It's a big deal, and I'm used to having a target on my back, and I accept it with open arms. That's the position that we're meant to be in, and people want to fight me for a reason, and I'm excited to go out there and prove why it's not a good idea.
Yeah, in this sport, I think it helps to have a target on your back because that's more attention. More attention results into more opportunities. Now, your opponent, Hart, have you watched her fights? What do you think of her stylistically?
I have. I've watched her. I know she's got some pro boxing experience. She has experience already in the BKFC arena. She's tough, She's gonna come at me like a boxer does. She's super tough, and I think any chick in this position going into a professional bare knuckle boxing match is extremely tough, and they're going to come out with a fight behind them. So I'm definitely expecting that. I'm anticipating it, but I'm super confident in my training and what I've done to prepare for this fight.
Now, you're competing at 145 pounds, am I right? Is that
No,
correct?
125.
Okay,
125.
125. All right. So I saw somewhere it was 145, and I was very confused by that.
No way. Definitely not. That is not my weight class. Those are
Yeah.
the really big, strong. I'd have to grow a lot.
Yeah, I was thinking like, hey, you don't have to worry about dieting or anything.
No, not at 41, 45.
Yeah. Now you know you go from 3-minute MMA rounds, or sorry, 5-minute MMA rounds to 2-minute boxing rounds. What kind of adjustments have you made to acclimate yourself to these shorter rounds?
Yeah, so it's now, instead of 3 5-minute rounds, the 2 or the 5 2-minute rounds, it's more of a sprint, I would say. So instead of going into UFC fight or a martial arts fight or an MMA fight, you're going in kind of needing to be able to uh, get ready for like a marathon. 15 minutes of fighting time is a long time to be inside of a cage fighting somebody and grappling. And for this, it's just a different type of cardio. It was preparing for, 2-minute sprint 5 times. And I feel like that's what the exciting thing is about, BKFC, is every round and every fight is like a sprint. You're pushing the pace from the very, very first second.
What advantages do you see in your style with that sprint?
I've always had amazing cardio, and that's something I've carried with me my entire life. I've been able to, go every round, and the later it goes in the third round, I was the one with the most cardio pushing the pace, and that's something I've carried with me. My cardio has always been amazing. So yes, I've perfected it. I've worked even harder to get my cardio better. There's always room for improvement, but that's something I can go into, and not necessarily worry about how I'm going to adapt to the cardio change.
How has it been focusing on just boxing and not worrying about grappling, kicks, knees, elbows?
It's been awesome. I was known as a striker. That's like my real passion, is striking. There's a few things, of course, I miss, is kneeing people, elbows, kicks. That's part of my forte that I felt was a very strong part of my game. But focusing on just striking, it's been awesome to know that I'm really sharpening one tool and I'm perfecting it. And when you really break something down to the details, you know that all of this knowledge that I'm getting in my straight boxing is going to work with me wherever I go in my career. And I truly am just having a lot of fun.
You make a great point, is that you get to focus on boxing, and wherever you go in your career, even if it's actual boxing, you could use that there. If you go back to MMA, you could use that there. So it's a huge benefit.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that's the great thing, is boxing translates to MMA, straight boxing, bare knuckle boxing. It's not like I'm going into just straight jujitsu. That doesn't necessarily translate for boxing or bare knuckle boxing.
So like with your knuckles, are you doing like the old kung fu movie style where they're like burying it into sand, and what are you doing to prepare yourself for that?
No, so I've done some, like, put your hand in the rice and you're, strengthening just the tendons and stuff all over your arms. I hit pads without gloves on. I'll hit the bag without gloves on. So it's just getting your knuckles kind of ready for the impact, and also like mentally know what it feels like to hit somebody or hit something without a glove on.
You've talked about in the past about going out there, just having fun with bare knuckle, not proving anything. When did that change? Having fun and not worrying about like anything else.
I do feel like that's kind of always been my mentality. I know that fighting is my career, but I know that it's also, going into fighting is like, I've always saw it as, it's fun for me. This is my career. And you should love your career. You should enjoy it. And of course, there's people that I want to say I need to, that you want to prove the haters wrong. But, you can only let that get to you if you let it get to you. The point is just to enjoy life. And that's, why I'm in MMA.
But proving the haters wrong it's satisfying though, isn't it?
It is, but I think more than anything, when I more than anything, when I win, I don't think about a hater ever. When I'm winning, I do it for me. I think about myself, and I feel the glory, and I feel like the energy of winning, and I only think about the hard work that I've put in and the dedication that I've put in. So, it's not the proving anybody wrong isn't truly what makes me feel good.
So how do you see your debut playing out? How do you see yourself finishing your opponent?
I think people are gonna have to tune in, but I definitely know that this fight won't make it 5 rounds. I'm ready for all 5, but the way that both me and this girl come at each other, it's gonna be a really exciting fight.
How long do you think it's gonna take for you before you fight for a title or win a title with BKFC?
Yeah, for a few fights, I think. I'd have to talk to my coaches, and I want to be able to have a few bare knuckle matches before I fight for a title, and I really want to earn it and deserve it, and then also just have a little bit of experience before I'm in such a high level fight.
If you could drag anyone from MMA or boxing to bare knuckle boxing, who would you like to bring over and punch in the face with bare knuckles?
There isn't anybody that I would like to bring over for myself, but I would love for my husband to have a bare knuckle boxing match. I think that would be really cool. My teammate Ed Herman is here in town training, and he's, a journeyman known for his like striking and dirty boxing, and he's somebody who I could see doing very well in bare knuckle boxing as well.
I forgot to ask you about the dirty boxing and the clinch. Do you think that could become a signature for you in bare knuckle?
We'll see. That's definitely, I'm not going to try to force into these positions where I know I'm really confident in. If it flows there, if I know I can get the clinch and, use that to my advantage, I definitely will. I know my clinch game is really good because I have done Muay Thai for a while, for a really long time. So if it gets there, then yeah, I feel very confident.
All right. A couple more questions, like combat sports related. The first one is, of course, Ben Askren versus Jake Paul. What do you think of that matchup? Is that something that's fun for you to, or are you going to watch it?
Yeah, it'll be super fun to watch, honestly. I'm kind of excited to see how it plays out. Ben Askren's definitely not known for his striking. Jake Paul hasn't necessarily proven himself in his striking yet either. So I think it's going to be an interesting dynamic to see how it matches up. I'm just excited to watch.
All right. Now, the past weekend, UFC 257, a teammate of yours, Dustin Poirier, goes out there, knocks out Conor McGregor. A lot of people expected it. What did you think about that performance from Dustin?
It was amazing. And I think a lot of people are, focusing on the fact that Conor lost, and how shocking it is. But I don't think it should necessarily be that shocking, because that would take something away from Dustin, and take something away from his win. The fact that he won and beat Conor is a big deal. Conor is extremely talented. He's a high level striker. I think he looked really good in his striking that night. And for him to beat him is, it's a really big feather in his hat.
It was great catching up with you, Paige. And February 5th, Knucklemania, Tampa, Florida, your debut. It's going to be incredible. I'm really interested in this fight. And I feel like you're going to bring so many people to bare knuckle. And that's always great for combat sports in general.
For sure. Thank you so much for having me.
Take a move in the ring. You can hit me with the words you fling.